Coop, how does the organization weigh the pressure to win a playoff series and take that next step with, the worst case scenario of this, which is the future health of Luka?
Well, I think it's probably instructive to go back to 2003 in the Western Conference Finals when Don Nelson actually overruled the doctors and trainers when Dirk sprained his knee in Game 3 of that series and said, I'm not playing this kid. I am not ruining his future. And the Mavericks wound up losing the series in 6. Steve Kerr had the monster fourth quarter where they got outscored 34-9 in the fourth quarter of Game 6. I think that's kind of how you have to look at it. Luka may want to play, but I think that the organization knows that they truly have a once-in-a-lifetime player, and they want to do right by him. So I can certainly see the Mavericks being extraordinarily conservative, and I think, generally speaking, their training staff is extraordinarily conservative when it comes to things like that, and their medical staff. They're ones who basically will err on the side of caution. They won't have players come back until they are really ready to go. Now, the playoffs present a bit of a different conundrum, but in this case, maybe it's 90% as opposed to 100%. But I don't think that Casey Smith or Dr. Worrell or anybody or Mark Cuban for that matter, Jason Kidd, I don't think any of them are going to do anything that justifies this kid's future, because we all know what this kid's future is.
Voice of the Mavs, Chuck Cooperstein here on Shan and RJ on the Diamond Factory Hotline. And then, Chuck, do you think they got a little bit unlucky with the way that the playoff schedule is playing out for them early on in this series?
There's no question. Look, you want as much time between games as possible. Normally, we all get all over the NBA for how long they stretch out the first round series to 16 or 17 days. But in this case, you would have loved to have had 2 days off between every game as opposed to simply a day off. And let's face it, even on the backside for games 3 and 4 in Salt Lake, they're playing on Thursday night and then they're playing again on Saturday afternoon. So there's not a real big turnaround there either. So even if Luka got back for game 3, just making sure that everything is right and okay and getting him his proper treatment and rest, that's even taken away by a few hours because of the schedule.
Coop, when you look at this series against Utah, let's just say without Luka right now, is there an advantage the Mavs has? Is there any matchup advantage they have without Luka?
Their biggest advantage, I think, is their intangible, is their mental advantage. Even though they've not won in Salt Lake City in forever. I mean, they've lost 11 consecutive games there, going back to April of 2016. The fact is that this team has become an incredible team in clutch time and being able to close out games. And frankly, Utah does not have that. I mean, Utah has lost 6 games this year when they've led by 10 or more points in the fourth quarter. They've lost more games when leading after 3 than any other team in the playoffs. And the only team that actually lost more games when leading after 3 than them are the Lakers. So take that for what it's worth.
Wow.
You've got the whole dynamic of Gobert and Mitchell that doesn't work particularly well. But I do think, even from a playing standpoint, I think people underrate the ability of Dinwiddie and Brunson to play together. The ability of both of them to be able to score and or draw fouls, even as there are fewer fouls that are likely to be called, because that's just the nature of the playoffs. The biggest problem I think they have without Luka is their rebounding, because Luka is their best rebounder and certainly their best defensive rebounder. And the last thing you want is for Utah to miss shots, grab offensive rebounds, kick it back out, and have them shoot, wide open threes, which generally off of offensive rebounds, those are the best 3-point chances you're going to get. So that's the biggest concern. But I think Finney Smith is grossly underrated. I think the Mavericks' ability to guard, even though it hasn't been great since the All-Star break, frankly, it hasn't been great anywhere in the league since the All-Star break. It's just been an explosion of points. I think guys like Bullock and Finney-Smith and their ability to guard and switch on the wings, I think they're gonna be okay. I really believe that. But I think the biggest advantage the Mavericks have is really the intangible more than anything else.
Chuck, it looks like Jason Kidd has just done a phenomenal job, and that he should be getting some Coach of the Year votes for the season that the Mavericks have had, especially after the Porzingis trade. What has stood out to you with Jason Kidd's coaching this season?
How calm he is. I mean, it's just almost unfathomable to think that, as crazy as an NBA game can be, that he can just stand there and watch it and be able to process it. And even when things go badly, that he doesn't fly off the handle. And I think that has translated to his players. And I think it reflects itself in their ability to play from behind and come back and win the number of games that they play. They've won 17 games this year when they've trailed by 10 points or more, tied with Phoenix for the most in the league. That the game, it really is a 48-minute game. Now, all coaches say that. They don't necessarily act upon it, but Kidd really does. And I think really from the start of camp, when he said, we're going to play defense and we're going to talk, and I think the players have taken that to heart. There's always a back and forth between them that's respectful and constructive, and it truly has been remarkable. I didn't see it coming, not like this. I mean, you always hope for the best when the coaching change comes, but this has succeeded, I think, beyond anyone's wildest expectations.
I know you mentioned he never gets up, never gets down. I wonder if that's like a former star player thing. Like Larry Bird never seemed to get animated when he was coaching the Pacers on the sideline. It was just, nothing could faze him. He's literally seen everything, and I wonder if the same with Kidd.
I think there's a lot to be said for that. And the Pacers had a pretty good run there too. Pacers also had a pretty good coaching staff working with Larry Bird, Rick Carlisle, and Dick Harder. You're not going to get much better offensive and defensive minds than those two guys. And then you have the presence of Bird, and I think the presence of Kidd. Again, he's seen everything, and he has won. I mean, he's won a championship. He's been to the finals 3 times. He never lost an international game. He was 55-0 playing for USA Basketball. I mean, there's nothing that is going to faze him because he really has seen it all, and he can translate that to his players in a way that allows them to stay calm under pressure. And listen, it didn't go very well at the start in that regard, but certainly since February 1st, I mean, they've been nearly unbeatable when the game is close and late.